Hey everyone, Miss Megan from the Columbus Public Library Teen Department here, and welcome to What's New in Teen Lit. Each month, we'll feature hot new titles that we've added to our collection. Today, we'll be talking Speedy reads, great books that come in at 200 pages or less. If you can't decide which one of these books to check out first, we'll make a book fortune teller to help you decide. Don't forget, you can put all of these titles on hold using our website, cvlga.org, and pick them up curbside at any location. Our first book has so many little extras packed inside, it feels larger than its 63 pages. For fans of Nickelodeon's Avatar: The Last Airbender, pick up Legacy of the Fire Nation by Josh Pruitt, original illustrations by Sora Medina, published by Insight Editions. The concept of this book is that it's a gift to Prince Zuko from his uncle Iroh. It includes a history of the Fire Nation, a family tree, Uncle Iroh's wisdom, stories from his past, and his hopes for the future. Tucked in the pages are letters from Zuko to Iroh, written when he was a child, a paper with the secret firebending forms, a copy of the Jasmine Dragon tea shop menu, and more. If you're a fan of the show and want more backstory, then check out Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legacy of the Fire Nation. At 115 pages, World's Worst Parrot by Alice Kuipers from the Orca Currents collection by Orca Book Publishers is a short and sweet story about maintaining a perfect social media image and what happens when something threatens to ruin it. Canadian high school student Ava aspires to social media celebrity. Her room is neat, tidy, and always camera ready. She won't post a selfie unless it's just right, and she has gained a couple hundred followers with a running monologue of her hashtag perfect life. But that's just to cover up the fact that things behind the camera aren't so perfect after all. Her dad has abandoned the family to move across country to Vancouver, leaving her mom depressed and bent on decluttering not just signs of their father's presence in the home, but most signs that anyone lives there at all. Her older brother Greg is as annoying as ever, and all they ever do is fight. And bright and early one Sunday morning, she discovers that her great-uncle Bertie, a man she met once when she was 7, died and left her his cherished African gray parrot, Mervin. To her horror, she goes viral after Greg starts a social media account documenting Ava's fumbling interaction with loud and messy Mervin. Now that the cracks in her social media image are on display, she wants the bird gone. It's going to be a week before the specialist from the zoo can come to assess Mervin, so she just has to take care of him until then. It won't be so bad, right? What happens when Ava starts being more honest with herself and puts some effort into taking care of Mervin? And just how viral does she get? Check out World's Worst Parrot by Alice Kuipers to find out. Watch Out by Allison Hughes from the Orca Soundings collection by Orca Book Publishers is a 124-page fast-paced mystery. 15-year-old Charlie's brother Tom is a senior class football star. Now he's become even more adored for suffering a gruesome game-related injury that's left him in a toe-to-hip cast. With their mom pulling double shifts cleaning operating rooms at the hospital and their Uncle Dave crashing in their basement while he looks for work, Charlie decides to step up and help take care of Tom. You see, Charlie hasn't had the easiest time adjusting to a new school, so he lies to his mom and says that the school gave him permission to stay home and look after his brother. He's got excellent grades and it's only for a week. It won't be a big deal. But this also means that he has to contend with answering the door and collecting all the packages Tom orders from their mail carrier, Gary. Gary's nice enough, but super awkward and way too chatty. During one of the deliveries, Gary mentions the string of burglaries that have been happening in their neighborhood. Since Tom is occupied with all of the tech he's been buying, Charlie decides that he'll play detective and see if he can solve the mystery of who's robbing his neighbors. But he doesn't bargain for what he discovers. Check out Watch Out by Allison Hughes to see if Charlie cracks the case. Do you like basketball? Then the 125-pager Dressed to Play by Jennifer Manuel, published by James Lorimer and Company Limited, is for you. Jordan Connor is a star on her grade 9 basketball team, the Orcas. She idolizes Diana Taurasi, guard for the WNBA team, the Phoenix Mercury, and has pictures of her and other players taped up in her locker. Not like her friend Samira, who comes over to practice new basketball moves in the driveway. Samira has pictures of her favorite singers and TV and Bollywood stars on display in hers. Jordan isn't, as Samira and her own mother put it, very feminine. This becomes more apparent when Wyatt, the leader of the boys' basketball team, asks if she is even a girl and starts calling her Jordan the Jock. She might be self-assured and confident on the court, but off the court she's struggling. She likes Amin, a member of the boys' team. He likes to talk basketball and fitness with her. He seems to like her back. But don't guys only like girly girls? Maybe she should try to wear some makeup or a dress. Maybe she shouldn't give guys pointers when they aren't doing something correctly. But the better question, as the book's cover states, is who says you can't be a girl and a star athlete at the same time? To find out what kind of girl Jordan wants to be, check out Dress to Play by Jennifer Emanuel. What Lane by Tori Maldonado, published by Nancy Paulson Books, comes in at 125 pages and candidly addresses racism as experienced through the eyes of Steven, the biracial 12-year-old protagonist. Steven wears a bracelet with the catchphrase of his favorite basketball star. It says, "What lane?" Everyone on the court has their lane, but this guy goes into any lane he wants, and Steven wants to be just like that. He doesn't want to be limited to just one lane. Steven has white friends like his best friend Dan, the one who excitedly introduced him to Miles Morales because now Spider-Man looks like Steven. He has black friends like Wes, who teach him about the Black Lives Matter movement, but he keeps those friendships in two different lanes. Steven has also noticed that people treat him like a troublemaker even when he isn't doing anything wrong. He doesn't understand why everyone is suddenly placing him in that lane. He never had to deal with overt racism when he was in elementary school. Why now? When a new kid in town starts acting grimy towards Steven, he has to decide what lane he wants to be in. Someone else's or his own. And the lanes of his friendships will finally merge to help him make that decision. To find out what happens, check out What Lane by Tori Maldonado. If you're a fan of thrilling true stories in space exploration, then check out Apollo 13, A Successful Failure by Laura B. Edge for 21st Century Books. In just 135 photo-packed pages, you'll learn about the harrowing tale of the seventh manned mission to space, which took place in 1970. When an oxygen tank explodes, abruptly aborting the planned lunar landing, the three members of the crew must figure out how to make it home alive. They can either return to Earth immediately and risk using up what precious resources they have to fuel them through Earth's atmosphere, or they can try to survive in space for a week and attempt to slingshot around the moon using its gravity to propel them to Earth, thus reserving what fuel and oxygen they have. The book also discusses how the Apollo 13's disastrous mission and successful return impacted the future of space exploration. Packed with photos, interviews, and information on how the story inspired the Oscar-winning movie, Apollo 13, A Successful Failure by Laura B. Edge is a book you don't want to miss. With an original story by Melissa Dela Cruz, illustrated by Thomas Patilli, published by DC Comics, the graphic novel Gotham High comes in at 167 pages. Bruce Wayne is expelled from Arkham Prep School for Boys after footage of him defending Richard Grayson from bullying goes viral. He moves back to Arcadia Estates to live with his uncle Alfred Pennyworth, who has returned from Hong Kong for good. Uncle Alfred was too heartbroken over the death of his sister, Ma Sha Dean, aka Martha Wayne, to take care of Bruce. So he sent him away and focused on managing his trust fund, growing it so that Bruce is set to be a billionaire in just a few short weeks when he turns 18. Next door to Wayne Manor lives Bruce's childhood best friend, Selena Kyle. Selena may be one of the elite, but money is tight, tied up in a trust fund until she turns 21. But she needs the money soon because her father's Alzheimer's is deteriorating rapidly and he needs around-the-clock care. To escape this reality, she spends time with Jack Napier, a teen from the wrong side of the tracks, whose parents are neglectful addicts, so he might as well not have parents at all. Bruce, Selena, and Jack attend Gotham High, home of the Bats. Bruce seems to be adjusting well enough, reconnecting with Selena and befriending Jack. But then Harvey Dent approaches Bruce one afternoon at his locker and asks to try on his leather jacket. Suddenly the lights go out. Bruce is shot with a tranquilizer dart, and when the lights come back on, Harvey is gone. Bruce knows he was the target of this botched kidnapping, but he doesn't know why. Harvey and his family have been destroyed by the event, and Bruce doesn't want that to happen to anyone else. So he decides to track down the kidnappers and stop them before hurting anyone else. Along the way, he'll meet Ivy, Principal Gordon, Barbie Gordon, and other alternative versions of the famous DC characters. To find out what Bruce discovers, check out Gotham High by Melissa De La Cruz, illustrated by Thomas Patilli. Our final book is also the longest, Sneaky Uses for Everyday Things by Cy Tymony for Andrews McNeil Publishing. It fills its 172 pages with instructions on how to build a variety of gizmos and gadgets from ordinary household objects. In Part 1, you can learn how to make glue from milk or electronic greeting cards. Part 2's projects are a little more complicated and include making a power room door opener or a superhero-style power ring. Part 3's projects are for security and teach you how to make a sneaky hiding place for valuables out of inconspicuous items, or how to create a foam fire extinguisher. Part 4 is dedicated to DIY survival, like multiple fire-making methods and water collection techniques, along with how to make a compass and smoke signals. And finally, Part 5 is about magnets and motors with projects like making a solenoid and an electromagnet. These are just some of the things you'll learn how to make in each chapter. If you want to find out what else you can make, pick up Sneaky Uses for Everyday Things by Cy Tymony to find out. Not sure which one of these great books to choose? Let's make a book fortune teller to help you decide. You'll need a piece of paper, a pair of scissors, and a pen. The paper for your book fortune teller needs to be square. So take one corner of your rectangular piece of paper and fold it to the opposite side, making a triangle and leaving a small rectangle at the bottom. Cut that rectangle off with your scissors to leave your square. Open it with one of the points facing you, and then fold that point to the opposite side. Make sure your crease is sharp so that everything folds nicely. Then fold each corner into the center. Once you're finished, flip it over and fold those corners into the center. Once you finish folded in your corners, fold your paper in half and in half again to help define the pockets where you will put your fingers. And that's all it takes to make your own book fortune teller. Now it's time to decorate. I chose to write words on my outside corners, and I kept with the theme of our books. So I wrote short, books, quick, and stories on the outside flaps. For the inside, I decided to keep it simple and just use numbers 1 through 8. For the inside, you'll want to write all of the titles to the books you're trying to choose from. Alright, it's time to see if this book fortune teller really works. I'm going to start with quick, Q-U-I-C-K. And now what number? I think I'm going to go with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go with 8. What book is revealed? What Lane by Tori Maldonado. That's the book I'll pick. For more great content, follow us on social media. We are at Chat Libraries on Facebook and YouTube, and at CV Libraries on Instagram. I'm Miss Megan from the Columbus Public Library Teen Department. Thanks for joining me for this month's What's New in Teen Lit. I'll see you next time.